How are you, friends? Welcome to Let's Sum It Up, where I try to sum it classical movies and TV shows, with a tinny drop of humor to entertain a little bit more. So with no further ado, let's begin with Godzilla 1954. This film, being in the Criterion Collection, demonstrates the great importance that this movie has for cinema. Here we could have hear for the first time the name of our hero, along with his classic roar, if it weren't for the wicked. We also hear for the first time the battle music, an instant classic. We open with a shoot of the open ocean, where we can see our first victims. A battleship in the ocean has a snowball and hell chance of surviving. I told you so. Luckily, they managed to send a stress signal to the Coast Guards. We meet two of our humans' protagonists, Ogata and Emiko. Ogata is part of the Coastal Guard, and Emiko is the daughter of another main character. They are in a relationship. The Coastal Guard decide to send a rescued ship to check on the distress signal. Poor idiots. I'm sure that this mission will be a success. And as we knew what was going to happen, the rescue mission was a total failure and our protagonist claims his second ship. Luckily or unluckily, a fishing ship happens to go nearby and see the survivors of the two vessels. Here we find another main character, Seiji, from the nearby island of Odo, and sadly Godzilla claims another ship. Seiji is the only survivor of the three vessels, and manages to reach the island in the wreckage of his fishing ship. Soon enough, journalists arrive to the island to report on the missing ships. Seiji told the journalists that the responsible for the destruction of the three vessels is a giant monster, but they don't believe him. Since they didn't have anything better to do, the journalists stay for a traditional festival. The village elder explained that in ancient times they used to do human sacrifices to calm the beast from the deep. Ask Kong about it. Finally, our protagonist presents itself in the island to bring havoc, since more than a calamity, Godzilla always has been more a force of nature. Don't run, Shinji-kun. Don't be a coward and get on the robot. Sadly, this is the end for Seiji. We will always remember you like this. And as I was expecting, the helicopter doesn't make it either. After the disasters that occurred on the island of Odo, its inhabitants appear before the government to state that it was not a typhoon, but a sea monster. We meet here Professor Yamane, father of Himiko, expert in paleontology, which explains to us that because there are very mysterious mysteries, it is possible the existence of a sea monster. They decide to send more victims, investigators, to reveal the truth of what happened on Odo Island. And coincidentally, they accompany the professor, his daughter Himiko, and his son-in-law Ogata. Nothing better than taking your daughter to the place where a giant monster may live. Luckily, this ship takes the protagonist to the island, so there is nothing to worry about. Upon arriving at the island and taking several measurements, they realize that the creature leaves a radioactive trail. Everything is contaminated with radiation, and they are just chilling about it. At least the one with the Geiger counter has gloves. Finally, after 20 minutes of movie, we're about to meet our hero. Finally, we get a little look at our hero in all its rubbery glow. Don't run, you coward. Apparently, Godzilla has stage fright and doesn't want to appear on camera, so he stealthily flees like the 50-meter giant lizard he is. Back in Tokyo, the professor explains to us that it is very probable that the race of our hero is related to the dinosaurs, and that with the remains of trilobites found in the island also deduces that he lived at the bottom of the sea along with SpongeBob. He is the boss. He also deduces that what brought our hero out of the depths were the tests of the hydrogen bombs that were made in the Bikini Islands, and furthermore, it is likely that it has also mutated because of the radiation. I repeat, the boss. The geniuses of the Japanese self-defense forces decide to attack with depth charges and torpedoes, thing that will surely work and not make our hero angry at all. You see, it totally worked. After his brilliant plan fails, the government resorts to the professor, in case he has any idea of how to stop the beast, but the professor is a pacifist, and he proposes that, instead of killing it, study it, let it be, fuck humanity. I see no faults in his logic. The press finds out that a certain doctor called Serizawa could know the way to defeat our hero. Emiko accompanies the press to Dr. Serizawa's laboratory, since she knows the doctor from a long time. The doctor denies any knowledge of some way to defeat the beast. So without having received any response, the journalist leaves the doctor laboratory, but Emiko stays to talk to the doctor. Serizawa, once the press is gone, decides to show something to Emiko. Everyone is back in the house, enjoy some cold ones, when the alarm sounds to indicate the arrival of Godzilla, that finally is going to get to do something in his movie. They threw everything at him, but all is in vain. Finally, we can see our hero with his glorious 50 meters of destruction. Too bad it's just a small sample of the damage he can do. Since once he has done his contractual presentation, our hero returns to his dressing room. The best scientists from all over the world reunite to try to find a way to stop Godzilla. But its best idea is to put up an electrified fence around the entire coastline of Japan. Let's say it didn't work. Godzilla rips through the wires like they weren't even there. We witness something epic. The first time Godzilla uses his atomic breath. What a time to be alive. Now, finally, with nothing to stand in the way, Godzilla can continue on his path of destruction through Japan. I think this is one of the most serious Godzilla movies, and I think most of you know that Godzilla is the representation of the fear of nuclear weapons that was very present to the Japanese since the two canonical events in which the United States developed Japanese's character. I clarify this because it will never be missing in the comments whoever says you forgot that Godzilla is blah blah blah, etc. Maybe if they hit him, they may hurt him. I'm just saying, these guys are the ones who trained the stormtroopers. Now, without having received any damage, our hero leaves happily knowing that it was a very productive day. Emiko finally, after witnessing so much death and suffering, tells Ogata what happened in Dr. Serizawa's basement, and it is not what you think, you ill thought. We see the oxygen disintegrator at work, a weapon that, when extracting the oxygen atoms of any living being, reduces it to dust or something like that. The truth is that I didn't understand it well. Dr. Serizawa does not want to reveal his discovery to the world because he is afraid that it will be used as a weapon of mass destruction. Wink, wink. After many twists and turns, and seeing all the destruction caused by the beast, Dr. Serizawa finally decides that he will use his weapon against our hero. By measuring the amount of radiation in the water, they are able to know Godzilla's location. Dr. Serizawa and Ogata will be in charge of deploying the weapon. Poor our hero, there he is, calm, without bothering anyone. Serizawa activates the weapon and kills our hero. Goodbye, Goji. Your only crime was to kill thousands of people. We will always remember you. Serizawa, in a final act, decides to end his life and thus prevent the destructive power of his weapon from falling into the wrong hands. Oppenheimer, suck it. Rest in peace, sweet prince. And that's all for now, folks. I hope you have enjoyed this little experiment. If everything goes well, soon I will upload the next one. I hope you can join me on this trip. And remember, if you like the video, leave your like, subscribe, share, ring the bell, leave your comment. If you want to make some constructive criticism, you are more than welcome. And until we see each other again, folks, and I'll catch you on the flip side.